defender that Celtic are in for, apparently, according to reports today, various reports, is Man City defender Jahmai Simpson-Pusey, who is, I think he's a centre-back, isn't he? 19 years old.
Yeah.
He's made 6, I think, top-flight appearances for Pep Guardiola's team. By all accounts, the reports are that Celtic want to take him on loan. What's your initial thoughts on this? Do you think this could work out well for Celtic?
Well, I do think Celtic will need an additional defender. I think Stephen Welsh he's got interest back in Belgium, where he spent the second half of last season on loan with Michelin. So I can see Stephen Welsh. I mean, I like the boy. I think he comes in for a wee bit of harsh criticism at times. Maybe because again he's Scottish. He's one of those homegrown guys. Kind of easy target for fans at times. He's had a difficult period with injuries, but when he was on loan in Belgium last season, he did quite well. So hence the fact he's got interest back there, and I think it would be for his own good if he was to move on, because he's not going to play much this season at all. And then that opens up a place in the defence. You know, at the minute you've got Cameron Carter-Vickers, you've got Liam Scales, Austin Trusty, and young Dane Murray, he's been a revelation this summer. He's been absolutely fantastic. So there's 4 solid options, but given Cameron Carter-Vickers' his injury record, I think you need a 5th central defender in there. And the fact that Celtic have already spent £6 million on Austin Trusty, obviously spent £6 million on Carter-Vickers, I don't think they're going to go out and splash out another defender when they've already got 4 solid options there. So that's why I think a loan deal could it might be a sure bit of business, you know. As I said, this boy's only 19. He bustled into the scene last season, 6 appearances. He had 2 in the Champions League. He made his first senior start against Sporting Lisbon. He skippered the reserves to title glory as well. He was crowned the EPL 2's Player of the Year, pipping Callum Osmond to the award. Pep Guardiola spoke in glowing terms about him as well. Said that he's the future of Man City's defence, and he actually played against Celtic in last year's USA pre-season game, which Celtic edged out 4-3 winners. So he comes with if he does arrive, he comes with a decent pedigree, a really promising, exciting prospect. And Celtic have obviously forged a really successful partnership with Man City over the years. You know, you look at Samaras, Guidetti, Denayer, Boyata, Roberts. I don't think there's been one failure that's arrived from the Etihad, so that's promising as well. The only issue for me is I think, should Celtic really be developing players from other clubs when they're not going to have an option to buy? I mean, it's something that's very unlikely going to have an option to buy this boy, considering what Pep Guardiola said about him already. So that's
exactly what I was going to ask you.
That's the only issue for me. I'm not so sure. I think there was a time in place when Celtic were maybe under kind of Ronnie Dyler. They're in a bit of a malaise, if you like, as a club. Rangers were out of the league, and they could afford to just kind of cruise by. But I think, that's my only issue. I think if you're going to be developing other players, you really need to be looking at an option to buy, and I'm not sure this deal would have that.
Because I get that some Celtic fans will say, you mentioned the Ronnie Dyler era, you know, someone like Denayer. We didn't have an option to buy it. He came for 2 seasons, didn't he? He ended up coming back.
No, he was there for a year, only a year.
Was it a year? Sorry, I don't know who I'm thinking of. But anyway, Denayer came. He was really good.
Remember he forged that partnership with Virgil van Dijk?
He was Young Player of the Year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was excellent.
So some Celtic fans go, look, this boy's a good player, get him in. But I tend to more think along the lines of what you mentioned there about developing other teams' players. When, shouldn't Celtic be developing a Dane Murray?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I do think there will be a place for Dane Murray this season. I think he's 22 years old. Brendan Rodgers has already spoken really highly of him. He's said publicly that, I think he said last season that, you remember the time when Mike Naroki was brought in from the cold and thrown in against Rangers due to that injury crisis. I think Celtic lost 3-2 at Parkhead. Rodgers actually said that Dane Murray was in line to start that game, only for him to suffer an injury, and he had to undergo a minor knee up at the end of that season, which got him fit and ready for this pre-season. So he's been excellent. Dane Murray really has. He's 22 years old now. He's not a young lad, and this is probably going to be time for him to make the breakthrough. So I do think there'll be a place for him, but as I say, I think Celtic just needs strength and depth. Given Carter-Vickers' injury record, I think Austin Trusty had a couple of niggles last season as well. obviously Liam Scales suffered that kind of fractured cheekbone, so you do need strength and depth in that area, and I think that's what this boy will bring.
I think that's a fair point. I think that it probably is an argument you could say that there's room to develop Murray and bring in, a lone player as well. So I agree.
And Celtic obviously competing across 4 competitions as well. So the League Cup, for example, against Falkirk. I mean, I've got to be honest, Dan, we'll probably talk about this later in the podcast, but I can actually see Dane Murray starting against St Mirren this weekend. But we can maybe talk about that later.
Interesting, we will definitely come to that.